Hey everybody, Matt Johnston here with the Johnston Business Law Group. We're back with my version of the Darwin Awards for employers. So before we get started, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button that you see down below, and also click the bell and you'll get a little notice from the YouTube peoples that we have new content that's been published. So I don't know if you guys have ever, when scrolling through YouTube or what have you, seen sort of the epic or fail videos that are out there. These are people who do either really incredible things that are quite awe-inspiring, or they crash and burn, and makes you wonder whether or not they should be contributing to the gene pool. We've all done dumb things. We've all done silly things. If you ever see me in person, you should ask me about my brother and I and our friends' attempt to build a boat for the small lake behind our house. Let's just say that I was not very smart in our efforts. Anywho, as I mentioned, these are Darwin Awards for employers, and these usually involve the EEOC, or the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. If you're going to do dumb stuff, don't make it easy for the EEOC to cite you. So I want to talk about three cases that have recently been released and discussed by the EEOC in their press releases. You can always go onto the EEOC website and subscribe to their press release listserv, and you can get these things. Very helpful for pointing out the dumb stuff. So first up is a federal contractor based in Virginia Beach, Virginia. They made an offer to a woman, allegedly made an offer to a woman to be an engineering logistics analyst, whatever that is, in the company's Florida office. Well, shortly after being offered the job, the woman told her vice president, or soon-to-be vice president, that she was about 5 months pregnant and therefore would, be delivering a child in roughly 4 months. And the manager promptly rescinded the offer. And worse comes to worse, the manager cited that the company does not hire somebody who is pregnant. Well, this violates two laws. First is the Title VII, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination against women, and the Pregnancy Discrimination Act, which modified the Civil Rights Act, which says you can't discriminate against somebody who is pregnant. So, yeah. Now, this case is still ongoing, probably going to be some sort of settlement sometime soon, but the fact of the matter is this was so simple. This was also so very, very dumb. Next up, we have a payroll company out of Minnesota. And this case was resolved. There's a settlement. The company's going to pay $95,000 in damages and undergo, there's going to be some monitoring by the EEOC, some changes in training and things like that. But the lawsuit that the EEOC filed alleged that the company fired an employee because she needed to use crutches following a surgery. She had apparently gotten some sort of knee injury and had the surgery, had an approved medical leave, and then wanted to come back to work. And the company asserted that she couldn't come back to work until she was 100% healed before returning to work. Yeah, that's not the law. And worse, the company cited the ambulatory aid, which I'm assuming is the crutches, when firing her. Okay, so this violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. A disability doesn't have to be long-term disability. Somebody on crutches for 6, 8, 10 weeks, that's pretty normal after a knee surgery. And when you do something like that, crutches is not a big deal. But you can't fire somebody because they've asked to use crutches. That's a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So once again, don't be dumb. Disabilities don't have to be permanent, as I said, and in this particular case, the accommodation that the employee wants it's an easy thing. It's a one-off. And when you do this sort of work, you do this sort of acts by the employer, you're just asking for the EEOC to come a-calling. And the settlement here is $95,000. Could have easily avoided it by simply asking a lawyer, can we make this person come back with only when they're 100% healed? Lawyer probably would have said no. Now, I do want to have a little caveat here, and when we're dealing with infectious diseases, particularly COVID, but it could be any infectious disease. It could be the flu. It could be, I don't know, chickenpox, what have you. These are infectious diseases, and they can cause a great disruption. And you can require employees to, at least be non-communicable at that point before coming back to work, so you can protect your other employees. I have a video about the Americans with Disabilities Act and COVID that I will link to up above. Our final case is a worldwide insurance brokerage that has agreed to pay $40,000 to settle an employment discrimination lawsuit. This one really takes the cake. This probably has to be the winner of the Darwin Awards for 2021. According to the EEOC's lawsuit, the company knew of an employee's Christian religious practices, including fasting in conjunction with Lent. Those of you who are not Catholic or Christian may not know, but during Lent, which is the 40 days prior to Easter, during Lent, Christians are supposed to fast during the day at various times. And this particular employee was fasting and meditating. And so the company fired him. And making even worse, they fired him, citing fasting and meditating among the reasons for firing this employee. Okay, so once again, let's talk about Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits employment discrimination based on religion. If you fire somebody for engaging in their religious practices, you are violating Title VII. So don't do it. Now, this particular employer is going to be paying $40,000 to our terminated employee and, I believe, reinstating the employee. But there's also going to be some additional training, some oversight by our friends at the EEOC. So don't do that. Don't discriminate against somebody based on their religion, their sex, their race, their color, or their national origin, whether they're pregnant, gender identity, sexual orientation. Some states have additional things like family status. Get to know what the protected categories are. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, and I mean everybody, belongs to a protected class of one sort or another. So be sure you are not discriminating against somebody based upon those protected classes. And it's not even simple things. White guys, middle-aged white guys, like yours truly, still belong to a protected class. So you have to be careful and you have to understand. Every single one of these Darwin Award cases could have easily been avoided by doing one simple thing: picking up a phone and talking to a lawyer. Because every lawyer in the country would have said, ooh, no, you can't do that. For every one of these cases. And you can make all kinds of excuses for these companies. You can make all kinds of rationalizations. But at the end of the day, discrimination and harassment is discrimination and harassment. And don't make it easy for the EEOC to spend the next couple of years all up in your business worrying about whether or not what you are doing is going to be legal and whether or not the EEOC is going to file some additional claims. Don't make it easy for them. Okay? In the meantime, we're coming towards the end of the year. Please go out and watch some live soccer. You won't be disappointed. In the meantime, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.